Welcome to Shadowproof. Evidence first, noise last.
For those not in the scientific community, the name Tesla might only refer to a modern electric car brand. But actually, this brand name originates from a man at the pinnacle of science, Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla played a crucial role in establishing the alternating current electrical system. And his research on electromagnetism also laid the foundation for future generations of science and technology. He was once praised as the creator of the 20th century. Without him, alternating current generators, hydroelectric power, radio, telephone, radar, and solar power generation might not have appeared or would have been developed later. However, because he despised fame and fortune and refused to sell his patents to financial corporations, any of his technologies couldn't be passed down to future generations, and his life became impoverished. He eventually died of heart failure in a New York hotel at the age of 86. Because Tesla had many ideas about wireless communication technology development, he invented some devices with supernatural capabilities, the most famous being the Spirit World radio receiver. This radio receiver even received signals from mysterious objects orbiting Earth. Tesla successfully built the prototype of this device as early as 1901. This device didn't require external power sources to generate electricity, which was extreme. At that time, he wanted to create a device to receive electromagnetic waves, but during testing, he heard some strange and frightening sounds. Once while researching the radio receiver in his laboratory, he heard some noise, followed by what seemed like people talking. As sounds, he discovered they didn't. The transmitted sounds were agonizing screams, even sobbing cries and the sound of iron chains. His intuition told Tesla that the radio receiver had picked up sounds from hell. Then the radio transmitted another voice that made his entire scalp go numb because the sound was very slow and deep, not human speech but the conversation of hell demons. Tesla didn't know why such sounds were transmitted, but he firmly believed this device could capture sounds from another world. After my first experimental observation, I was truly terrified because I heard mysterious sounds that shouldn't. After this incident, Tesla temporarily set aside the radio receiver experiment because he was researching another experiment. It wasn't until 1918 that he revisited the radio receiver research plan. Despite previous experience, he still felt somewhat fearful. Based on the previous design, Tesla assembled the radio receiver again, but this time he made some changes to the antenna to improve reception quality. When he turned it on, the first thing that came out was a burst of noise. This time the noise lasted very long, about 30 minutes. To maintain reception quality, he remained alone in the laboratory. After the noise passed, he suddenly heard the crying of many people. Then he heard some slow, deep conversations, but he couldn't understand what they were saying. Although he had heard many languages, he believed these slow, deep voices weren't languages humans could produce. Following that, he heard more people crying, men, women, and children included. The longer he listened, the clearer these sounds became. Almost the entire laboratory was filled with sobbing cries and the slow, deep conversations of unknown creatures. Tesla believed these unknown sounds were manifestations of sounds from another world through the radio receiver. However, even with his extraordinary knowledge at the time, he couldn't determine the origin of these sounds, only speculating they came from hell. Speaking of this, some people might recall a mysterious, world-shocking event that occurred in the Soviet Union in the 1970s. During the Cold War of the last century, the Soviet Union and Western countries were opposing forces in every aspect. Not only was there an arms race, but competition also erupted in many other fields. Not only racing into space and space travel technology development, both sides also focused resources on racing underground, with super deep drilling projects that would dig deeper into the Earth's crust. It was a very bustling time. According to Din Dan's Earth Science book, from 1960 to 1962. The combination of economic interests and national confidence in the space race drove Soviet scientists to plan a Russian super deep drilling project. The purpose was to reach the boundary between the Earth's outer and inner crust, surpassing previous American exploratory drilling projects. In 1962, the Soviet government established an interdisciplinary scientific council to implement a crazy project called the Kola Superdeep Borehole. This project aimed to drill deep into the Mohorovicic discontinuity zone. The Mohorovicic discontinuity zone was named after Croatian geologist Andrija Mohorovicic, who discovered it in 1909. This is the boundary zone between the Earth's crust and mantle, located about 60 kilometers below the surface. In 1965, they selected a site in Pachensky district on the Kola Peninsula and built a 196 meters tall tower to secure drilling equipment. The drilling coordinates chosen by Soviet scientists were 69 degrees north and 30 degrees east. On May 24, 1970, deep drilling into the Earth officially began. They utilized the most advanced drilling technology at the time, the URALNASH-4E, and later the URA. Geologists drilled a hole system they called the Kola Superdeep Borehole. In 1989, after nearly 19 years of diligent drilling, Soviet scientists drilled a central hole called SG-3, with a terrifying depth of 12,262 meters. Russian scientists consider this superdeep hole the third greatest scientific achievement after space exploration and deep-sea exploration vessels. By 1983, the drilling depth had reached 12,000 meters. The final 262 meters took 10 years, from 1983 to 1993. By 1994, drilling work had to cease. Why stop drilling? The official reason at the time was insufficient funding. But according to insiders, the real reason was that some supernatural phenomena had appeared in the drilling. A drilling technician asserted there were no funding issues, but rather because demons emerged from the bottom hole, forcing drilling to stop. Many witnesses recounted that Soviet scientists continuously encountered mysterious phenomena underground. On one hand, during drilling, the drill bits automatically spun uncontrollably, as if manipulated by some mysterious force. On the other hand, and even more terrifying, a chilling sound emanated from deep within the Earth. Scientists reported that beyond a depth of 13 kilometers, some strange phenomena began to appear. People heard human screams from the drill holes, a phenomenon that science could not explain. A former project member recounted that when they lowered a sound recorder into the drill hole to capture Earth movement sounds, what they heard instead were horrifying screams that frightened everyone. According to researchers present at this team, on drilling near 13,000 meters depth, a strange sound came from the drill bit. They placed a heat-resistant microphone inside, and the recorded sound was very eerie, resembling human screams. They swore the sound was like the shrieks of sinners in hell. As reported by Finland's Commodore Sonia Daly, the Russian drill had opened the gates of hell. Some bizarre phenomena occurred at depths greater than 13 kilometers. The article quoted the project leader, the famous Soviet geologist Dr. Dmitry Ologov. He stated that after drilling a hole 9 miles deep, a blue-faced, yellow-fanged winged monster flew out. Subsequently, they lowered a radio and heard agonizing screams as if countless people were suffering. The Soviet geologist said, "I never believed in heaven or hell before. But as a scientist, I now cannot help but believe hell exists." Needless to say, we were all shocked by this discovery. We all knew that what we saw and heard were not hallucinations. And we were absolutely certain we had opened the gates of hell. He mentioned that everything proceeded normally at the start of drilling. But when reaching about 9 miles deep, the drill suddenly spun violently, indicating a large void underground. Temperature sensors at that time showed temperatures reaching 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. And when we pulled out the exploratory drill, what was more shocking was, along with hot steam gushing from the hole, a large monster with fierce fangs and eyes flew out. Like a frenzied beast screaming incessantly before vanishing in an instant. He said some workers present turned and fled. But we decided to stay, hoping to uncover the truth. We lowered a set of equipment into the drill hole, designed to record Earth's crust sounds. But strangely, it wasn't the sound of crust movement, but human screams.
At first, we thought the measuring device was faulty. But after adjustments, we confirmed the sound truly came from underground. Just one person.
He said, "Fortunately, we recorded the agonizing screams for the recorder."
Fabricating stories, we. Regarding this supernatural phenomenon, Russian scientists could hardly explain it from a scientific perspective.
They could only rely on religious and belief angles to partially interpret it, as the phenomenon closely resembles hell as described in the Bible. Since ancient times, many Eastern and Western religious beliefs have included hell.
And hell is often considered a place where souls undergo punishment. In some Buddhist classics and the epic poem by Italian poet Dante,
there are also detailed descriptions and explanations.
Recently, a cultivation master capable of opening the third eye revealed the mystery. I used my ability to observe the Soviet Union,
which actually drilled to the gate of the Western Hell, and concluded with a professor.
The hell of the Western white world corresponds to human space.
In this gloomy underground world, many beings who committed great sins are imprisoned.
In the white world belonging to various planets in our galaxy's layer,
the number reaches millions of people. There are souls in human form, half human, half beast souls, and various animals. They're confined in a secret underground space, a dark place. Seriously speaking, this is a transit station from the human world to hell. The area of this underground world is vast, equivalent to 2/3 of Russia's current territory. The enraging cries mentioned in that event were actually the desperate wails of sinful souls imprisoned in hell. In these extremely painful circumstances, they are tearing at each other, enduring excruciating torment every second.
However, this is not all they had to endure.
As mentioned earlier, there are ghosts crawling out from the bottom of the well along the drill bit. I used my special ability to observe and clearly saw some souls from hell crawling up to the ground, into human space. But all were destroyed by the King of Hell using his magical power, because hell creatures are not allowed to disturb human society. I also discovered the bright drill operator, but couldn't make a prediction because it was impossible. I also discovered that the super great drill operator is actually a reincarnated hell demon. His purpose of reincarnation is to fulfill the divine will, using the super great drill to open the gates of hell,
with the intention of warning humanity at that time that hell is real.
If humans don't accumulate virtue and do good deeds but still commit evil, they will be condemned to hell after death.
Thank you for watching. If you'd like, you can subscribe to watch the next videos. Or if you have time, you can watch more videos from this channel.
If the proof convinced you, subscribe and open the next case.